Bienvenidos a su casa. Welcome. I really wanted to invite you to my home and give you a little bit of my passion and joy and the basics of good Mexican cooking. So with that said, we have a lot of fresh ingredients here. So I wanted to go over some of the ingredients and see how we really pick them in the grocery store and how do we make them all come together and become a great salsa. There's so many different salsas. There's so many different variations, and it's very, very difficult to go wrong. It's a matter of taste. Very little seasoning, but it's how you're going to put them together and what you're going to use them for. So let's start with the jitomate, the tomato. There's so many different tomatoes, right? We have the Roma tomatoes, and most of us feel that Romas are really good for Italian cooking. We have the regular one of the salad tomatoes. Not too sure of the actual name of it, but there's small ones and there's big ones in this regard. And then you have these beautiful vine tomatoes, jitomates. I will tell you that the Roma is no good, no bueno para salsas. Reason being is too sweet. It's too sweet and the consistency just really doesn't give it that richness and salsa flavoring, and it breaks down very quickly. So either we're going to use the salad tomatoes or the vine tomatoes are perfect. And what we can do is in different variations of salsas, you can cut it up and sweat them down in the pot and make a salsa ranchera or something to that nature. Or you can go raw and put them all in the blender and cook it down. So next ingredients. Cebollas. You have the Mexican cebollas. So which ones do you think we would use? They look pretty much the same. They're called the Mexican yellow onions, right? Or just yellow onion. So here you have a very big yellow onion, right? And here you have a smaller version, and in both of them, you'll have the small, medium, and large as well. But if you see, this casing is a lot thicker. And this right here is the actual sweet yellow onion. And this one here is the Mexican yellow onion. So again, we don't want too much sweetness in our salsas. If you want to go real authentic, we're going to stick with the Mexican onion. Or we can do the white onion. Either way. But the flavoring profile for me on the Mexican yellow onion is one of my favorites. Okay, so what else? And then we have another onion, la cebolla cambray, which is like a Mexican green onion. These are huge. I can't believe it. Usually around this time, they're really big. And what are we, in the spring? And then in the fall, they're really tiny, but they still have a bulb. You have the difference from the regular green onions that are very thin and long that we use in a lot of different seafood or pastas, what have you. But these Mexican green onions have the bigger bulbs. Not usually this big, but they are amazing. So when you go to a Mexican restaurant like Leticias, you can have chiles toreados and cebollas toreadas, which means that the Mexican green onion and the jalapeno have been grilled and sauteed and seasoned with a little lime and, of course, Leticia's spices and secrets. But those are amazing just to eat with like a carne asada or some tacos, or just as an appetizer with the guacamole. They're very flavorful. I'm sure you've seen in movies or in videos of taquisas and Mexican street tacos where people take it and they bite into it. It's just another profile adding to an amazing taco or any dish that you would like. So with that, we also have our garlics. Okay, regular garlic that we're going to use. Again, you can either roast it or you can chop it and put it in the blender, or you can as well boil it down for a different type of sauce or salsa. Okay, there's so many that it's so much fun that you might think that, oh my gosh, it's way too many. How am I going to know? Well, the basics is what you want to stick to. So one of the last ingredients is jalapenos. These are also very big, and there's different shapes, sizes, and the jalapeno is usually where you add your spice, correct? And it has its unique flavoring that most salsas really, really go well with. But you also have chile de árbol, chile guajillo, chile pasilla, chile piquín. There's so many different ones. But this one, the basic one, the jalapeno. Jalapeno, how do you pick them? Is it that we go for the biggest ones? Or is it that we go for the smallest ones? Or is it that we go for the quirky ones? No. You know what's really fun is if you go to a Mexican market and you see all the doñitas or the abuelitas or even the young moms that know the Mexican kitchen well, they're not grabbing and putting them in a bag. Watch. They're looking at each one and you're like, really? It's all jalapenos. But it depends on what you want it for. Because if you like really spicy or you like them really mild and just to get the flavor profile, you want to look for the brown indents for the spiciness, the brown slashes. They're very few. See, I don't know if the camera can zoom in or not, but see these little slashes here, the little brown marks? That tells me it's going to have a little bit more of a spice. That one is just smooth, okay? And of course, we can take them and take out the seeds and really make sure they're not that spicy. But when you've had a salsa at Leticia's Mexican Cocina, and you're like, ay, chihuahuas, I said spicy, but not that spicy. In the kitchen, we always say, Abuelita was really mad, or the cook was really mad. You know, we have that saying, híjola, está enojado. So there you go. So that's how you pick it. But we also have other types of salsas that are fun to cook with, and because they enrich the different types of salsas for different dishes, and such as el chile guajillo. This is this dried, dehydrated chile guajillo. This chile guajillo has like a zesty tang and somewhat a little bitter, but it also has a very small hint of spice, and it really creates this smooth red, how can I say it, creaminess of it. But because it has a little bit of the bitterness in it, you always want to balance it out with the other ingredients. So if you know that, you're going to be able to make sure that when you're making it, you can taste for it if it's too bitter. So these are basically the ones that we make chile rojo or chile rojo de enchiladas. So we want to always make sure it balances out because it gets bitter really quick. I love using chile pasilla. Chile pasilla, the dried out chile pasilla, has a little bit of this profile of the guajillo, but it also has some sweetness into it. So it's a smoky sweetness, but never overpowering on the smokiness. So I love matching these two together, putting these two together. And of course we have our cilantro. Our cilantro is always the ingredient that's going to kick it up a few more notches and bring some freshness to it. A lot of individuals don't like cilantro, or they think it's going to upset their stomach, and come back and remind them that they don't like it. But I have to tell you that most of these fresh ingredients won't do that to you. Reason being is key factor is because it's fresh, it's fresco. When you pull it out of a can, when you open up your salsa cans or your different types of sauces or chiles or what have you out of a can, those are the culprits of giving us so many different issues with indigestion. My opinion, and this is how I've really noted that a lot of people at Leticia say, why isn't it that I get an upset stomach with your Mexican food? And in the last 8 years, I keep hearing that over and over and over again, and it's because I make everything fresh. We're not pulling tomatoes, chopped tomatoes, or tomato sauce out of a can. We're actually using the fresh ingredients. Obviously, I get in trouble with my husband and everybody, my CPA saying, but it doesn't help your bottom line. That's not why I cook. So, now, here I have una salsa verde taquiza. This taquiza salsa is just beautiful with like pork tacos or pork enchiladas or anything like quesadillas. It's just beautiful. It has a much more bolder, smoother, and full of flavor versus just a salsa. Now, this is our roasted salsa that we make at the restaurant, and every day we're roasting the tomatoes, the onions, the garlic every single day, and we blend it and season it and making sure that you have a fresh roasted salsa at the table. Okay, so with that, why don't we start making a salsa ranchera? A salsa ranchera, we can use some tomatoes, and it is just incredibly easy. They're all washed, everything's all washed and ready to go. I am a huge, huge advocate of you use the whole thing. Unless you're not going to cook it down and then you don't want some harsh segments of, the tomatoes. So I'm talking about the ends, on the ends. So we're going to make just like this in quarters. We're going to take the Mexican onion, yellow onion. I'm not going to use all of it, but this is the way I love peeling my onion because it's quick. I don't have to get too fancy, and it comes off really, really easy. So, and we're going to quarter it, and we're going to put it in the pan, and we're going to simmer it until it's all broken down as much as possible, and then we're going to blend it with all the spices and ingredients together. Okay, so with that, I'm just going to use half of it because we'll use the rest of it for later. So I'm going to get my pan, but okay, so we're going to put the tomatoes and the onions. I'm going to put a few more. Uh-oh. It's called camera nerves. And we're going to put some garlic, and shall we put a jalapeno? We'll do one. So because these are, I can see we say verdes. Obviously they're green, but because they're not mature, I'm going to leave the whole thing in it. So no water, nothing at all. Just turn it on to a medium high and let it start simmering, and it'll cook it down. Okay. Now, today I would also like to show you, when you make these different variation of salsas, what you can do with. But one of the best salsas is molcajete salsa. And again, you can do many different variations of molcajete salsas. You can do it with tomatillos, tomates, all the chilies I mentioned, habanero. But the key thing is you roast it. That's the best flavor. I tell you, even in the kitchen, when Mom was roasting the tomatoes and the onions and even the chile pasillas, oh, I love that flavor. But unfortunately, in a restaurant, I wanted everybody to have those smells and, and get to know them because you're just like, wow, what is that smell? It just brings home. It really does. But you have to have those big extractors, and there it goes. The neighbors get to smell it, though. Okay, so we're going to use a molcajete. And this is so traditional. It goes back as far as the Aztecs, and I think even more further, with the Mayans and the Aztecs and the pueblitos, from grinding down the corn, from the long metates, molcajetes with a long stone to grind down the corn to make the corn masa, even the cocoa. You grind it down to make the Mexican bitter chocolate, el chocolate azteca. Oh, beautiful. But those flavors are incredible. And this is made out of lava rock. So this lava rock, once you have a molcajete in your home and it's seasoned and it's yours, it's like you don't let nobody touch it. You don't let nobody touch it because it's yours and you know the flavor profiles into it. And the reason why it's so amazing is that when you take all your roasted ingredients and you start to grind them in, instead of using a blender, it infuses those flavors. Que rico. It's amazing. And Mom would just put this right in front at the table, and everybody with a spoon would serve ourselves the salsa that evening, that dinner. So that to me and to a lot of traditional homes is one of the best salsas you can ever have. Everywhere I would go, I remember when I was raising my children and we'd go to families and friends, there's the molcajete salsa. And it's like, I didn't think it was enough for a family, but I tell you, because most, like Mom or most friends would make it a little spicy, so you slow down on it. So we've roasted, as you can see, our tomatoes, los jitomates, the onions, the jalapenos, and what we're going to do, we're going to start putting it together to make this molcajete salsa. From the jalapenos, jitomates, nicely roasted. They're so nicely roasted, they're almost cooked down. And you know what? This is something we do indoors on the grill, on the griddle top. But the fun part to me is doing it outside on the grill. I like to put a little bit of the olive oil at the bottom. Not much, just enough so that we can start to incorporate those flavors. And the first ingredients that we put is the ajo, the garlic. See how beautiful it is? See how roasted and amazing? And I tell you what, my second best food is Italian. Roasted garlic with a beautiful French bread. Oh, espérate, wrong segment. This is Mexican. I'm glad I married an Italiano, so I get to have fun with that. So what you do is you just grind it. And when you grind it in, it's easy. It mushes, it incorporates with the oil. Look at that, easy. So I would say the next item to do is the onion. Now the onions I selected the Mexican green onion. You can do the white onion, you can do the Mexican yellow onion. It's up to you and your flavor. And you know what? Try them all out. It's so hard to go wrong with a good salsa. It really is. So, because you're layering the flavors and you're trying them out. So I like to chop it up since these are so big. I wanted to chop it up a little bit and take the crispy colitas, we call the end of the green parts off. So, and then again, you go at it. You go at it and you grind it down. And look at this. Who needs a gym? Look at that. Yeah, you got to get into it. So, once you grind it all nice and smooth, and again, this salsa, not only because the flavor profiles come together really nicely, but it's not a blended puree, of ingredients. If you want that, it's okay, but the molcajete salsa, you don't want everything to be, just pureed and mushed down completely. Obviously, my husband doesn't like to bite into a big, huge piece of garlic, so I make sure those are always mushed up. And if you're going to have garlic together, you better make it together. So, little pieces of chunked cebollita. We can go at this a little bit more, true. And then I'm going to do the jalapeno. Look at that, beautifully roasted jalapeno. You can cut off the stem, chop it up a little bit if you like, and put it in there. Mama, don't turn away, because I know she said, what are you doing cutting it up on the board? Just put it in the molcajete, chihuahuas. Well, you know, my mother gave me my passion and joy. I just loved watching her cook, and from every step of the way, she would put so much love into it, and she would talk about it. Mira, mira, mija, you have to do it this way because it gives it the flavor this way. And if you're not going to do it that way, don't do it. You know, you gotta want to, because then when you watch everybody, your guests, your family enjoy, and you know, when people say it in those words, but once you create those memories and you see somebody go, wow, God, that's so good. I remember my grandma. I remember my mom. Oh, my mom said chillar, chihuahuas, you know. But that was the beauty of her joy of really making food, not only as a family, not only as an experience, but a memory, you know. And so, gracias, mami. Gracias. So, now we put in the jitomate, okay? And the jitomate has still the stem. See, it's nice and roasted, and it's mushy. See, it's mushy. It's cooked where it's not just burnt on the outside. It's actually, whoops, see, it's mushy. So it's, look at that. Look at all the juices. Wow. You don't want them just burning it on the grill. You want them to really cook it down and roast it. So look at that. It just mushes right into your ingredients. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do each and every one of them until you get to the amount you want. And you'll get to know your molcajete, how many tomatoes, how many tomatillos, or how many habanero or chile de árbol do you need in your own molcajete salsa. Because it could be just all red with jitomates, or it could be just all green with the tomatillos, and you do exactly the same thing with the tomatillos. You peel them and you roast them, and whoops. And you bring them all together and you incorporate it good. And based on TV time or time of segment, we're going to keep going like this. I remember when my mom would make salsa, or when she would make, you know, sopes or picaditas or something for dinner, and it was a little too spicy. Ay, mami, está picoso, mom. Mija, put some more crema. Put some more cheese on it, you know. But we had to learn how to eat spicy. We definitely did, you know. So as little kids, so we love it. I know my brother can, and even my brother-in-law, American guy, he can outbeat us all. Oh, Wes. Wow. He bites right into him. I've never seen that man cry. Well, one time in Tijuana, when we took him to a Mexican taco stand, he went for the hottest pepper. That was a good fun memory. Okay, so you want food that you want to enjoy, not that you want to suffer with. That's my point. That's the way I look at it. I like it spicy, pero hasta ahí. Mira, mira, uy, mira qué rico. So it's all together. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. But now we're going to season it. Now we're going to give it the next best. So, ¿cómo le hacemos? ¿Cómo le hacemos? A ver. Limoncito. Limones. Limón verde. Limes. I always get that confused in English. Because we don't have a lime or lemon. We have limón. It's a limón. But what kind? Is it green or is it yellow? So I always assume everybody knows this. So we're going to roll it a little bit to kind of get it all mushy and make sure that we get the juices out. We can either do this by hand, or you can do with your own lemon squeezer, which is also fun. I heard someone say that one that has all these kitchen gadgets and actually uses them loves to cook. So here you go. I think a half a limon or limon verde is perfect. Salecita. I always use either the kosher salt, rock salt, because it is not so refined and it's not processed so much, and you don't need as much to really enhance the flavor. So pinch, couple of pinches I think, and a little bit of pepper, we're good to go. And let me say, a lot of people feel that Mexican food is comino based. That's one of my pet peeves. Yes, we use comino in a lot of our dishes, but not a lot. It's not the profile of Mexican food. So if you mix that up, basically that's the seasoning. Now, if you want to go further and you want to add a little oregano, Mexican oregano, nice and grilled up, beautiful. You may do that. So this, make it fancy, put it on the table. Mira nomás, qué ricura. That's a molcajete salsa that is ready to go and enjoy. So we'll put it on some of our picaditas today. Ahora, la salsa de aguacate o salsa cruda. That one is a really good creamy salsa that has the creaminess, the tang, the flavors, but it's not a thick guacamole. So it goes beautiful with picaditas, taquizas, etc. Chips and salsa. So at Leticias, you'll have some of that at the table, the roasted salsa, salsa cruda, as well as the bean dip. So we cut our avocado, aguacate, and take it all out. We get a spoon, and we're just gonna put it all into the blender, okay? See this? My husband said, why are you wasting? Do not waste. That's his favorite, is aguacates. Right here I've added 2 aguacates, nice and creamy. They're not hard, they're nice and ripe, but they're not overly ripe. Put that there. And then what we're going to do is add a jalapeno. The jalapeno, again, depending on your like of spiciness, it's very rare that I take out the seeds because especially that one looked very, very green. So we'll just do one and taste it. We can always add. So a little bit of cilantro. This is a lot of the flavor of this sauce. So what we're just gonna do is put the cilantro right in there. And then we're going to do limon. Limon verde, a lime. And get it nice and soft. Use our fun toy of the lemon squeezer. And I think one full, again, who needs the gym? Are you kidding me? If I don't go, chihuahuas. Okay, now, salecita. Again, a few pinches because if it's not enough, we can always add, right? Now, this is the fun part. In Mexico, you have a variation of this, salsa cruda, but you can add some roasted peanuts or roasted pine nuts. You won't believe the profile of the flavors is just beautiful. Taco Salsero has this quite a bit. I would say 2 tablespoons maybe at the most. And again, add them to see how you like it, and if not, don't ever do it again. But easy. Okay, I love my Ninja at home. Put it in, power it up, and let's smooth it up. So when we come back, I'll show it to you all finished. Welcome back, bienvenidos. Now that this is blended, I pureed it really nicely and smooth. we're going to get it out of here, put it into our bowl, and make sure we don't miss any of the good stuff. Some people like it a little bit more runnier versus thicker. It's just a matter of desire. So we'll put it in our bowl, and we'll make sure we taste them, see if we need to add more salt. Another one, fresh ingredients. So it's, you know, I always say you can eat healthy, and it doesn't have to be boring. I tell you, the other day, I wanted to be such a good wife, and I know my daughter-in-law is coming over, and she says she can't do gluten, so I bought these gluten-free bagels. And I went, ooh, we can have bagels now. Well, guess what? My husband came and said, don't ever buy those again. They taste like cardboard. So I'd rather make my stuff. Let's make it healthy, and let's make it fresh and tasteful. You don't have to eat all bland to eat healthy. Poquito más salecita. Qué rico. My taste, I would want a little bit more jalapenos, a little bit more spice, because they are verdes, man. Bien verdes, which means they're not spicy, they're not ripe. Okay, so there's another salsa that we have. Okay, so the salsa ranchera that we cooked down, we blended it, and this is the consistency. Look at this. You can make enchiladas, chilaquiles. Oh my goodness, so many different things. Okay, so we'll put that one in a nice bowl as well. And this is one that many do not know of. It's salsa macha. This is made with chile habanero. No, I'm so sorry. Chile de árbol. See? Chile de árbol, it's the chile that you use for crushed peppers, for pizzas and stuff. And the way I roast it with garlic and season it, oh, this right here is this roasty, spicy, nutty flavoring that you can sprinkle on just about anything, and it just takes it to another level. And it's not like very intense hot, it kind of builds. So my suggestion is get a tamarindo margarita with that. Perfecto. Okay. So that way, you got a different variation. You got the roasted, you got the taquiza, you got the salsa cruda, you have salsa macha, you have salsa de molcajete, salsa ranchera. So now let's make something so we can taste each and every one with them. So something simple, maybe it's a snack for your family, maybe it's, you know, when you have guests over, an appetizer or a Sunday breakfast, or even take it to another level and add some actual protein to it and make it a dinner. It's called picaditas. Amazing, simple, flavorful, you're gonna love them. Wow, thank you so much. What a pleasure and joy. Thank you for allowing me to share my simple recipes for salsa and making it a little easier, I hope. Please try them out at home. You can't go wrong, I promise you. I'm Chef Leticia, and I hope that you'll join me next time. Nos vemos.